Why do we fear the almost human? The psychology of the uncanny. By Chase. Let's like the video. Let's dive in. Let's see what we got.
About
Oh
this
my God.
feel wrong? The answer is probably yes, but you likely can't explain.
But why did we start like that? Why was that the first thing that we see? Can we get our toes wet? Can we dip in the pool? You don't just jump into fucking 20-degree water, gang. That's just not something that happens, you know? Let's slow down.
Why?
Okay?
Why do entities that are almost human creep us out more than things that aren't human at all? How's it going, everybody? Welcome back. My name is Chase. Today we're going to be exploring the uncanny. Not just the uncanny valley and why humanoid robots or realistic looking dolls make us feel creeped out, but I want to go a step farther and explore the uncanny as a whole, and instances in life where that same feeling may be invoked. Let's get right into it. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoy. I don't want to waste time explaining what the uncanny valley is because I feel like most of you guys probably already know by now. It's not exactly a niche thing, it's talked about all the time.
If you don't know what uncanny valley is, it's essentially like this thing, this logic within a person's brain. And stop me if I'm wrong, I don't know 100%, but it's this thing within a person's brain that you're unable to fully, if something looks humanizing to you but you know it's not a human, or you can't, your brain or your eyes can't fully depict what you're seeing, it tries to fill in the blanks, ultimately leaving like it's something that fucking makes your brain thinks it's seeing like something that is like a human face, but it's not. And if the brain can't understand it, if your eyes can't explain to your brain what it's seeing, gang, it's essentially you're going to start tripping. I think that's the RushMoreRick way to simplify that one for you.
Time now online. If you're watching this video, I assume you probably already know what it is. But for anyone who's completely in the dark, the term uncanny valley was first used by Japanese roboticist Masahiro Mori. Mori spent the 1960s working on machines that were designed to mimic human movement and appearance. He noticed a trend of people generally responding more positively to robots that were more human-like. But this was only up until a certain point. Eventually, the robots reach a stage where they become too human-like while still having characteristics that clearly identify them as being not human. At this point, people begin to react with extreme discomfort and are very avoidant. Mori took note of his observations in an essay written in the 1970s, and the term the uncanny valley was coined. Later in the video, we're gonna get into a few theories about why entities that closely resemble us make us feel this way, but before we do that, I want to try to define what the uncanny actually is. One of the first people to really explore the concept of the uncanny was the founding father of psychoanalysis, Sigmund Freud. In Freud's 1919 work, Das Unheimliche, or in English, The Uncanny, Freud describes the uncanny as the class of terrifying which leads back to something long known to us, once very familiar.
And that's what I think, like, with most uncanny things, like, even, like, if you just search up uncanny valley on fucking Google, you're going to see images of just, like, things that look unnatural, like something that's trying its hardest to be something that it's not. Like he said, when people do that fucking weird ass makeup that's just makes your face look like you're something that's been trying its whole fucking existence to try to be human. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just unnatural, it's unsettling, it's unearthly. But that's ultimately that feeling that it gives you, where it's like, gang, I don't know what you are. I don't know what you're trying to be. I don't know what you're trying to appear as. It's obviously that you're trying to be something similar to me, because what my eyes are telling me is like, all right, you have human characteristics. You move human like, you look human like, you got eyes, you got ears, but again, your eyes aren't wet. You know what I'm saying? Like, your eyes aren't blinking. You know what I'm saying? Your pupils are a little bit too dilated. You know what I'm saying? Your eyebrows, they're not like, you're a human, but you're lacking in certain human departments, at least from every other human that I've encountered every day of my life. That's what makes it uncanny.
Which is to say that the uncanny is something that feels familiar and alien at the same time. Something that should feel ordinary or mundane feels off-putting. You see, Freud believed that much of human behavior was driven by repressed desires, fears, and memories. These pieces of you are often buried deep within your subconscious mind. When the uncanny arises, it is this repressed content being driven to the surface. So beliefs that you're more likely to hold as a child when you don't really understand the way the world works yet, like believing in magic or spirits possessing objects and your toys being able to move by themselves.
I'm not gonna lie, my Uncle Chucky fried my shit. He fried my shit when I was younger. Like literally, it was one point in time when I want to say I was in elementary school. My Uncle Chucky told me and my sister that whenever we go to sleep, because my sister had this bunny rabbit robe when it had the big ass eyes and ears and shit on it. My Uncle Chucky told us whenever we went to sleep, don't look at your toys, because if you look at your toys, you're going to see that they're moving. And he said toys do not like. They hate it. He said, you can see how serious I just got. That nigga told me that toys do not like being, you know what I'm saying, discovered to be alive when we're supposed to be asleep because we're kids. So from that day forth, I believe it was like, I want to say probably like a year straight, I was sleeping in my sister's room. We would close the closets. It's like I would not want to sleep by myself because I had every toy. You know what I'm saying? I had a whole bunch of fucking action figures. I had a whole bunch of fucking WWE figurines. Like, nigga, do I want John Cena mad at me for discovering that he's moving in my sleep? Nah, I don't. I'm cool off that. But yeah, like, that's a real thing. And when you're younger, you don't understand how the world works. You don't understand what's 100% alive, what's not supposed to be alive, what a fully developed human looks like. No, you're figuring this shit out. But that's one of the things that fried me when I was younger when it came to this toy shit.
When something in the world provokes these old repressed beliefs, the result is that strange, unsettling feeling. The uncanny. To Freud, things like hyper-realistic dolls and machines are uncanny because they blur the line between the animate and inanimate. Our expectations of what it means to be alive, conscious, and human are being challenged. Another different interpretation of the uncanny comes from French psychoanalyst Jacques Lacan, who significantly reinterpreted much of Freud's work. Lacan believed that there are 3 different orders or registers that describe different dimensions of the human experience. These 3 registers, the imaginary, the symbolic, and the real, explain how we form our own self-identity and how we interact with the world around us. The imaginary is the realm of images, fantasies, and self-identity, shaped by early experiences and identifications, most notably the mirror stage. The mirror stage often occurs during infancy, when the child is first able to recognize their reflection as themselves. Seeing and recognizing this reflection is when your self-identity begins to form. However, it's based on a misrecognition. It's kind of that same feeling that you get when you look at old pictures of yourself. Neither a reflection or a picture is actually capable of fully capturing who you are.
And that's one of the things that be frying my brain, because it's like to this day, it bothers me, right? Because you'll never know 100% what you look like. Like, just let that thought sink into your brain. You will never know 100% what you look like through your own eyes. Like, the mirror is not 100% true. Pictures aren't 100% true, because that's just you at a point of time. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, it's you, but it's your brain's idea of you. You will never get the chance to look at yourself through somebody else's perspective. In this lifetime, I don't know, if maybe in the afterlife, I don't know. But it's like, in this lifetime, you will never get a chance to fully see yourself, how the world sees you, how the people you love see you, how random strangers on the street see you. You will never get the chance to see that. And I don't know. It's just like, whenever I just think about that's one of the things that's uncanny to me, because you generally don't know what you look like. You just know what you look like based off of your based off reality's perceptions of you, based off of other people's perceptions of you.
The second register is the symbolic, and it is the realm of language and social structure. The symbolic shapes the way that we think, speak, and relate to other people. We use language to represent real things, but our unconscious associations shape our understanding. For example, if I were to say the word dog, we both know what kind of animal I'm talking about. But your past experiences shape the way you feel. If you've had numerous bad encounters with dogs, you probably don't like them very much. Those past experiences might invoke a negative connotation around the word. But I've never really had a super negative experience with a dog, so even though we're talking about the same thing, our associations with that thing are entirely different. The real is the final register, and it resists the other two. When I say that it resists the other two registers, what I mean by that is that it cannot be fully put into words or images. The real is experienced when the other two registers are challenged or fractured, most commonly through traumatic experiences, where something that is meaningful to us is taken away or torn apart. Imagine you're walking down the sidewalk with one of your friends, and out of nowhere, a car swerves off the road and hits them, and just like that, they're gone. This would be an encounter with the real. You would be standing there frozen in shock, unable to process what just happened. The other two orders were just ruptured, because there's no way you would ever be able to explain that experience in words or images.
And that's one of the things I think about when, like, say, for the people that experience being in some shit where they have somebody die within feet away from them, you know what I'm saying? Or you witness something where a person who was literally walking side by side with you, they're no longer, like, they're just dead. They're gone. They're not breathing. It's no life, and they're not breathing. Like, stuff like that is just hard to think about for me personally, because it's like he said, for his example, you're literally walking side by side next to a human being who's doing the same movements as you, doing this, like, has the same functions as you, assuming that they're healthy. You know what I'm saying? And then all of a sudden, a traumatic thing happens within fucking seconds. A car hits them. They have a heart attack. They pass out. They start suffocating. Anything. And then just within seconds or within minutes, they're no longer here. They're not breathing. They're no longer a fucking person. You know what I'm saying? They're just a lifeless bag of bones at that point, essentially. That shit is crazy.
To Lacan, the uncanny is a glimpse past the symbolic and into the real. You're seeing something that isn't alive, but it almost seems like it might be. The boundaries between what is alive and what's not collapse, and the result is the uncanny. The real is pressing through, something that is outside our comprehension. So does the uncanny creep us out because of repressed childhood beliefs or a glimpse past the symbolic and imaginary orders? Maybe that's a part of it. I'm not.
I think it's got to be a mixture of everything, because it essentially comes down to, at least what I think, for something to be so uncanny is just your mind's inability to understand. You know what I'm saying? Like, one thing about humans is, especially if you're the same humanoid as me, is I have to understand what I'm seeing. Like, and I'm not saying understand as in I gotta 100% know what I'm looking at all times. No, but it's like, if you see something that your entire life, like you've talked to people your entire life, you know what I'm saying? You've interacted with people, you know what I'm saying? You've been around people. So if you see something that is giving human, it looks like human, it's moving like a human, but if you look at its face, gang, that shit is not human. What the fuck is that? I don't know. I don't know what I'm seeing. But your brain is literally fighting tooth and nail to register, to try to file. Like, you know what I'm saying? Look at your brain like a file cabinet. Whatever it's looking at, it's trying to find, you know what I'm saying, where can I put this in this file cabinet? Where can I store this? You know what I'm saying? What is it that we're looking at? What does it register as, so we can classify this, so we can stop tripping and we could go on about our day? That's what makes something uncanny. The mind's inability to register something as simply something.
Not the one to say. The uncanny is very hard to define and to put into words, but there have been several other theories proposed as to why we evolved to fear the almost human. The mate selection theory states that uncanny features may signal poor reproductive health or genetic defects. We evolved to be repulsed by the almost human because they could signal low fitness in potential mates. From an evolutionary standpoint, mate selection involves subconscious checks for reproductive fitness. Traits commonly associated with the uncanny, like lifeless eyes or pale skin, could indicate infertility or developmental issues. These traits unconsciously trigger this feeling of rejection to avoid passing on the weak genes. I'm kind of going to spoil my own beliefs on this. I think that the uncanny is a conglomerate of a bunch of different things. This is one of the only ones that I think I would count out entirely. Because first of all, I see people that I'm not attracted to all the time, and I would not classify them as uncanny or say that I'm repulsed by them.
And that's one thing too. Like, you know what I'm saying? I don't think just for the simple fact that somebody's attractiveness level is low that you look at them as they're uncanny. No, gang, you just look at them as if they're chopped. You know what I'm saying? Like that's essentially what you would just look at them as. They're not attractive. You're not intrigued by them there's nothing exciting about their face that you want to look at. But does that mean that they're uncanny to the eye? No, it just means that they don't spark your interest. You're not interested in looking at their face some more. No, that's I don't think that's uncanny at all.
And besides that, I wouldn't be able to look at a male doll or figurine and feel that same uncanny sensation because I'm interested in women. So I don't think the uncanny valley has anything to do with mate selection or avoiding passing on weak genes. Another theory is disease avoidance. Strange and unnatural features might subconsciously remind us of symptoms of illness, triggering an avoidant reaction to reduce the risk of infection. Evolution, of course, favored humans who could detect early signs of illness in others and avoid them. Features like odd coloring and sluggish robotic movement are often found in figures that fall into the uncanny valley, but they can also be signs of illness. We may be seeing these features as signs of possible illness, invoking an avoidant reaction. The predator avoidance theory states that the uncanny valley may...
Do y'all remember that time period when Momo was a thing? I swear, like, it seemed like to me every I want to say every 4 to 5 years it's this scary thing, this scary creepy pasta, this scary story, this scary human figure. What do they call that shit? They call it a um I don't know. I forgot the name for it. But every 4 to 5 years, there's always this new scary thing that people hype up as this real thing, and like, don't do it. Don't watch the video. Don't read what it says, because if you do, you're gonna get a chain email that's gonna say, send this to 85 people, or I'm gonna kill you by yesterday. You know what I'm saying? Just look like little dumb shit like that. But I remember this Momo had shit on like in a chokehold. And it really was like the fucking, the 40 to 50-year-old Facebook moms who spread fucking misinformation telling them, don't let your kids watch this. You know what I'm saying? My daughter or my son watch Momo and then he's tried to stab me. No, gang, your kids just need therapy. I promise you. It's not Momo. This shit is not real. But essentially, it's always 4 to 5 years with some crazy shit like that shit. The Momo shit, I remember that was the last thing I could really think about that was like really like big in the world, because it was talked about globally, and it's always fucking kids on YouTube searching up shit that they ain't got no business searching up, and then they find Momo and then they just start doing crazy shit and then they blame it on a video. Like,
may be a side effect of our predator detection systems. A being that looks almost human, but not quite, could set off primal alarm bells of spotting a predator wearing a human disguise. This would also explain why the robotic movement makes this feeling more pronounced, because the jerky unnaturalness of it resembles something pretending to be human. This is the other one that I'm not too sure about, because as far as I know, there's never been a predator that closely mimicked human behavior. Since the uncanny valley is a pretty universal feeling, it wouldn't make sense for it to be passed down to everyone if it wasn't benefiting our survival. Obviously, predator detection would be incredibly important to early human survival, but specifically fearing the almost human and human mimics seems a little bit out there. Unless our ancestors were regularly encountering skinwalkers and Wendigo, it doesn't really make sense to me for this trait to be passed down to everybody. Because seeing a saber-toothed tiger standing in front of you and then seeing a mannequin that looks like it might be alive are two completely different feelings. The corpse recognition theory states that uncanny features often mirror traits found in corpses or mortally ill humans. Again, with the waxy skin and glassy eyes, but also the rigid posture and slack facial expressions. These traits make us feel uncomfortable because of a subconscious association we have between them and death. This one is pretty similar to the disease avoidance theory, which is why I waited to cover this one as well. Both of these theories make sense to me. It's just part of your brain trying to keep you alive. And part of staying alive is keeping you healthy and avoiding getting sick. Of course, staying around sick, dying, or dead people is probably suboptimal for your health and well-being as a human. So your brain subconsciously steers you away and says, maybe staying around this isn't the best idea. The other hominid hypothesis states that the uncanny valley is a leftover from when we coexisted with other human-like hominids.
And this is one of the theories that's most popular, and one of them that I kind of similarly agree with, because if you look back in the days, like the Stone Age type shit, they had the what are them shits called? Fuck. I need to read more history books, gang. I'm not gonna lie. Like I'm losing knowledge that I fucking feel like I should know and that I really fucking know randomly. But like yeah, like back in the day, there were different types of species that either they were similar to you or they were kind of similar, but they were not at the same time. I'm gonna let him explain it because I can't find the words.
Like Neanderthals and
That fucking the Neanderthals and all them shits. That's the one I literally. That's the one of them that I know that I was literally trying to fucking say and I couldn't say it.
Denisovans. Our encounters with these species may have regularly involved competition for things like resources and food, leading to a hardwired caution response for almost human faces. Even though we're now the only remaining hominin species left, our brain may have retained this evolutionary suspicion towards anything that may resemble a separate tribe. Alright, I know I said I'm only counting a couple of these out, and I don't know if I want to count this one out completely, but to me it definitely seems very unlikely. Maybe it's a part of it because I can see how we would be competing with other species of humans for food and resources. But personally, I would not breed with something or someone that I found to be uncanny looking.
Gang, I hate to break it to you, but you must not know that these niggas was like literally out here fucking pigs back when the colonies was a thing. So maybe us humans have obviously we evolved in the moral department, but for you to say that back then you wouldn't do that, gang, literally when, you know what I'm saying, Christopher Columbus sailed the ocean blues and shit, and back when Amerigo Vespucci was killing the Aztecs, they were literally having sex with animals. So I'm saying, and that's how these things get created. I believe that's how those, like when the Neanderthals were mixing with the hypophiliacherthals. That's not a real thing. I just made it up. But whenever like people have curiosity, they mix and they create things that ultimately looked uncanny. They created things that ultimately had shared qualities amongst different tribes, amongst different species, amongst different, you know what I'm saying? Exact, like you get what I'm saying, but it's like.
And we know that early Homo sapiens bred with Neanderthals. There are people in the world right now who have more Neanderthal DNA than you or I because their ancestors bred with Neanderthals.
That'd be the niggas with the weird shaped heads, right? If you ever see a nigga with a big head out in the streets, you know that nigga is like 80% Neanderthal. Like you just know.
So again, I don't think this one holds a lot of weight. The category ambiguity theory states that we as people like to put things into categories, and we prefer to be able to tell definitively whether something is human or not.
I said that, literally, that, and if you watch the fucking video, because I literally said this. The main thing that makes stuff uncanny in our minds is the inability to put it in a box, the inability to categorize it. If you see something that looks like a cat, you know what I'm saying, your pretty precious neighborhood cat, you know what I'm saying, but it next thing you know, it start growing 2 more legs, or it's missing an eye, or only has 1 eye in the middle, and your brain just starts like, am I seeing this right? Like, am I tripping? Am I not tripping? Is that a cat? Is that not a cat? It looks like a cat. It's small like it. But gang, its tail is coming from the front. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's like the brain's inability to classify something. That's what makes something mainly uncanny.
If you look at an object, you put it into the category of not being alive. But if that object is a doll or mannequin that looks somewhat like a real person, our brains try and fail to force a classification, creating that unsettling feeling. This one is pretty straightforward and it makes a lot of sense to me. It kind of ties back to Lacan's theory of the other orders being challenged. I used a dog earlier as an example, so I'm going to use that again. Could you imagine coming home one day and your dog is speaking to you fluently? Maybe after a while you get used to it, it might even be kind of cool for a little bit, but your immediate reaction, or at least my immediate reaction, would be that uncanny feeling.
Nah, gang, that would never be cool. Imagine you go to work, you know what I'm saying? Grueling 8 hours of fucking physical labor. You come home and your dog is walking around the house on 2 feet and just gonna say what's up to you. I just don't see that as not something that you get used to. No, that would freak me the fuck out. Take me back to work. Take me back to work at that point, because it's just like, what am I seeing? What am I witnessing? My dog that was my dog the entire time I had it just randomly is walking on 2 feet and it knows my fucking name in English. Nigga, who taught you English? I don't know. That would freak me out.
Because part of what I know about dogs is that they don't speak. So if my dog started speaking to me, it's breaking my classification of what a dog is. Another theory is the violation of social norms. As humans, we have behavioral expectations for others baked into our DNA. You can think about something like eye contact. Generally, we all feel comfortable holding eye contact for short durations of time, usually between 2 to 5 seconds. But when you meet a person who is breaking eye contact too frequently or holding it for too long, it makes you feel uneasy.
It's because it's kind of like they're hiding something. Like, you ever talk to a person who, like, obviously everybody that I've encountered is human, but there's been instances where you meet somebody who's, you know what I'm saying, obviously they're a person and obviously they're human, but gang is just genuinely moving like a fucking AI chat bot in flesh. You know what I'm saying? They can't hold eye contact. They're actively just like blinking, or it's like it almost appears as if they're trying to be human. They're trying to be something or somebody. They're mimicking something, but their functions within their brain knows that there's a limit and there's a capacity to how much that they can be human.
Our brain is subconsciously noticing that the behavior being exhibited feels like mimicry, and it flags the entity as being possibly deceptive or manipulative. Again, this one makes sense to me, and I can definitely see how this would be a part of it. I've definitely met people in my life who make eye contact for way too long or make it too intensely, so maybe the Uncanny Valley is just that, but the next step up. It's the same feeling, but just a more intense version. So in conclusion, we don't really know what the Uncanny is, or why these things that fall into the Uncanny Valley disturb us so much. While we don't have a definitive reason for the Uncanny Valley's existence, it's likely the result of multiple systems overlapping rather than just having one specific cause. It reveals just how deeply we care about what it means to be human, and how violated we can feel when something blurs the line between that boundary. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope that you
That was a good video. Whoa, wrong emote. Super duper wrong emote. Y'all know we like to spam the fucking soundboard over here. Anyways, it's your boy RushMoreRick. If you enjoyed the reaction video, leave a like, comment, subscribe. I will see y'all at the next video. I already got one posted for you, gang. Like, I'm looking out for you. Like, come on, log in.